plans that by the end of 25, it will have capacity in North America to produce 1 million EVs. That's been the guidance for some time. Well, today, Mary Barra at a CNBC event said, they're not going to make it to 1 million. Here's what she had to say.
Can General Motors outsmart Tesla in the electric vehicle race? Despite ambitious goals, GM struggles with battery shortages, production issues, and software problems. But can they truly secure a future in the rapidly evolving EV market? Let's find out. Back in 2021, General Motors, or GM, surprised everyone when CEO Mary Barra announced the company would go zero emissions by 2035. They aimed to be able to produce 1 million electric vehicles per year in North America by the end of 2025. It aimed to make 400,000 EVs over 2022 and 2023. This declaration was met with mixed reactions. Some were shocked, perhaps shareholders or industry analysts, who saw it as a dramatic shift for a company established based on traditional automotive production. However, as the target date approaches, it's clear that GM won't reach this goal. Their battery supply issues are so severe that they can't even produce half of the needed amount. In a recent interview, Barra said GM won't meet this goal. GM has adjusted its plans for making EVs in North America, reflecting changes in the market and what customers want. Although GM has set a bold target to make 1 million EVs by 2025 to stay competitive, they decided to take a more cautious approach. The company faces issues like not having enough batteries to reach such high production numbers. In the U.S., EV deliveries were flat in the second quarter compared with the same period in 2023, but still up 11% from the first quarter.
At General Motors, moving to an all-electric future, and almost what's more important is the fact that the vehicle really is a software platform. And so, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown right now. We won't, we won't get to 1 million just because the market's not developing, but we'll get there. And so we're going to be guided by the customer, but what I like to tell people is get in an electric vehicle and drive it. It's a lot of fun. It's instant torque. It opens up new design language for the vehicle. So as the charging infrastructure gets more robust, as EVs become more affordable, I definitely think we're going to see that growth. And the next 10, 11, 12 years is going to be pretty transformative in the way people move.
While GM's EVs are not terrible, they certainly aren't the best on the market. GM's journey with EVs has been facing many challenges. From production struggles to software issues, GMC Hummer trucks can stop working at fast chargers. They've also had issues with making parts in the cars themselves at their factories. They even canceled some of their battery factories that were supposed to use LG Energy Solution technology. Instead, they shifted focus to build lithium phosphate batteries in collaboration with CATL, a decision that highlights their struggle to streamline their EV strategy. Now, affordability of EVs is a significant factor. For instance, if GM were selling a $65,000 Chevy Silverado with a 400-mile range as promised, it could likely sell hundreds of thousands. But the reality is that GM simply doesn't produce enough vehicles to meet even the current demand. There have been no reports of GM having fields of unsold EVs, unlike Ford, which has faced similar issues. GM's best EV sales months have still shown that they struggle to ramp up both battery production and EV production. Additionally, they faced numerous software and quality control problems. The launches of their Ultium-based EVs have been affected with significant software issues and manufacturing defects, which is a critical area GM needs to improve. Do you think production issues can impact a company's reputation and consumer trust? These problems have led to a slower than expected uptake of GM's EVs. For example, the market for EVs in North America grew by 12% this year. However, this growth could have been much higher if not for the negative news cycles around issues like GM's battery fires. Problems with infotainment systems and vehicles like the GMC Hummer malfunctioning at DC fast chargers further highlight the technical difficulties GM faces. Battery production issues have been another significant barrier, interfering with their ability to meet production goals. Mary Barra acknowledges that software is crucial for GM's electric future, but getting it right has been challenging. She said that as GM moves to an all-electric future, it's vital that their vehicles function well as software platforms. However, GM software has faced criticism and negative feedback across its brands. Barra has pointed out that getting the software right is crucial for GM's success. Despite this understanding, GM's track record with software has been poor. They had to recall all Blazers due to severe software flaws. The initial sales of these vehicles revealed numerous issues that undermined customer confidence. Journalists identified around 57 different problems with the cars when they first hit the market. creating a bad first impression that could deter potential buyers. Barra also admitted that GM won't reach its goal of producing 1 million EVs soon because the market isn't growing as quickly as expected. Despite this, she remains optimistic that GM will eventually meet its target. The main issues are not just market demand but also pricing and GM's ability to produce enough vehicles. The automaker reported 21,390 EV deliveries in 2024, up 34% from Q1 and 40% from the same period last year, indicating that it has turned a corner. The company is focusing on meeting EV demand without committing to specific production targets. Barra also said, "We're being flexible," and that they will produce based on actual demand rather than setting a new capacity goal. This reflects GM's shift to a more adaptable strategy. Barra further explained this strategy change, especially if the market doesn't justify it. She emphasized that the company will follow customer needs. GM's problems aren't solely market-driven. They are significantly related to internal production and quality issues. While the global EV market is expanding, GM's ability to keep up with this growth has been the consequences of their own challenges. The company's software issues, in particular, have been a major sticking point. A functioning and reliable software platform is essential for modern EVs, and GM has struggled in this area. Moving forward, GM is aiming for an all-electric future, but it's facing stiff competition and internal challenges. The company is becoming more focused on the North American market as it loses ground internationally. In China, GM has seen a significant decline in market share because they were not prepared for the rapid adoption of EVs. This lack of readiness has left them vulnerable to more competitors. Chinese car manufacturers are now targeting markets in South America and Central America, areas where GM previously held a strong position. These regions have low tariffs on Chinese vehicles, making them attractive targets for expansion. GM will likely struggle to maintain its market share in these regions as well. In the long term, the only markets where GM might remain dominant are the US and Canada, due to protective measures like tariffs on Chinese EVs. Several factors are influencing GM's revised EV production strategy. The EV market is growing, but not as quickly as some had predicted. Issues like charging infrastructure and consumer hesitation are affecting adoption. Economic uncertainties like inflation and potential recessions are also impacting how much people are willing to spend on new, possibly more expensive EVs. The EV market is becoming more competitive, with both established automakers and new companies competing for market share, which may affect GM's plans. Rapid advancements in EV technology could be causing GM to reassess its product lineup. Supply chain disruptions, especially with semiconductor availability, and changes in government policies on EVs are also affecting production. Even with these adjustments, GM remains committed to its long-term electrification goals. The company continues to invest in EV technology and infrastructure, understanding that electric mobility is the future of the automotive industry. GM's revised approach shows flexibility and a realistic approach in aiming to avoid overproduction and manage inventory better while still preparing for future growth. This strategy allows GM to adapt its resources and products based on real-world feedback and market trends. As the EV market evolves, it'll be interesting to see how GM and other automakers adjust their strategies. Barra believes the next decade will bring significant changes in transportation. Although GM has faced challenges, it appears to be making genuine efforts to improve. Updates and price cuts to the Blazer EV have boosted sales, and the new Equinox EV has received positive reviews and offers an attractive price. Despite these setbacks, Barra remains optimistic about the future of EVs and believes that GM will be guided by customer preferences. However, there's a perception that GM is trying to shift blame onto consumers for their inability to provide affordable, high-quality EVs in large numbers. This narrative doesn't hold up when looking at broader market trends. For instance, in China, 50% of all cars sold in the last 2 months have been either plug-in hybrids or fully electric vehicles. The US market lags behind Europe and China, but it could be much further ahead if GM had met even some of its production goals. Barra didn't specify when GM would reach its goal of producing 1 million EVs annually, so it remains to be seen if they will achieve this target in the future. Here's a thought to wrap it up. Do you believe GM can overcome these challenges and become a major player in the EV market? Don't forget to comment down below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.